should give us a. All right, thank you again for being here. This is our December program and it's official for the recording. So why don't we go ahead and kick us off? What I was going to say is for the participants, feel free. If you have a question, you can use your microphone. You might mute yourself if you're not going to talk, just so that if there's any kind of background noise, it doesn't disturb Greta's flow of thought while she's on the hot seat here today. But you can also use the chat feature, and I'll try to keep an eye on that. So go ahead and introduce yourself and your library, as we kind of talked about, just talking about your experience with libraries before being there and how you ended up there in Nortonville.
So my name's Greta, and I live here in Nortonville, which is really nice. I actually live like 2 blocks from the library, so if I didn't have to carry so much stuff every day, I could walk, but I usually have to fill up my car, and I always have all of my cups. So I started my 3rd year as the director here in early August. So I started as the director at the very, very end of July 2020. So that was an interesting experience. There wasn't a whole lot going on here. So that was actually pretty nice because I got to learn a lot of stuff while it was kind of low key. So Nortonville is a very, very small town in Northeast Kansas. We're not, I mean, for people who live in the city, you know, driving 45 minutes to go to Walmart or Target or whatever is crazy, but that's what we do. Our closest Walmart is 20 minutes away. We're pretty close to St. Joe and Kansas City and Lawrence and Topeka. So we have like 600, a little over 600 people in town. And our school district, we have the elementary and middle school here in Nortonville, and then the high school is over in Winchester, which is like, what, 7 miles south or so. So that's pretty much Nortonville.
Yeah. Are there any major businesses still kind of operating in Nortonville?
Actually, we've had a few open up recently.
Cool.
There's a gas station that's been there always. It just changed ownership. There used to be restaurants. There aren't anymore, but we have a kind of little boutique store that's been open for a couple of years. And a liquor store just opened. And then we had another store that's kind of a little boutique. It was online, and we had a thrift store that closed and they took over that space. So there's not much here. There's a bank and a gas station. Gotcha. And those 3 little stores basically. Yeah.
Great. Why don't you give us a little bit of an idea? And I should mention to people who are here and who are maybe watching the recording is Greta's library is open right now. So she is sitting at the circulation desk. So if a patron comes in, you guys know how it goes. We'll have to give them what they need. So just wanted to let you guys know what's up with that. So the next question, you've already talked to us about Nortonville. Can you describe for us how your library operates, thinking about, you know, the hours you're open, the staffing?
So I am the director, so I'm here every day except generally I don't work on Saturday mornings, but I do have to fill in sometimes. We have 2 women that are on staff, and they, one of them has been here a long time, and she's down to about 8 hours a week. She works Thursday, Friday morning, getting all the holds done and doing all the not super fun stuff before anybody else gets here. And then I have another staff member, Jen, who was supposed to be here today, but she's sick. And she works most days with me. And then we have 3 high schoolers that work here. So they do usually evenings, Saturday mornings. One of them is virtual school, so he can be here on like Friday early afternoon, you know, when the other two can't. And that is it. That's us, basically. We're closed on Sundays and Mondays, and then we're open 9 to 5 on Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. And on Wednesday, we're 12 to 6, and then Saturdays 9 to 12. So we changed the hours not too long ago. We used to be open until 8 on Wednesdays, and I know the kids from school wish that we still were, but that's a late night. So especially when we have all the board meetings and city council meetings, and we share a building here with the city hall. So the city clerk is here every day generally. So we get people coming in and out for that all the time, for paying water bills and all kinds of stuff, answering the phone for her sometimes. And
yeah, they share a phone line there. So
yes,
if you call, you usually, it's Barb, right? She's been there as long as I've been supporting the library since. So a long time. So Barb knows who Neckles is when we call. And but yeah, so it's interesting because they are in the same building. They kind of have an open area between them, at least a little bit, I think, and then they do share that phone too. So kind of seems like one entity at times, probably, to people as they're going to pay their water bill and whatnot. Sometimes you overhear things about people I know working there, like you learn all about what's going on with their water bill. Okay, well, let's talk a little bit about the library itself, as we kind of were already, and I'll start putting up some of these pictures. So that is the exterior of that library space. The library is on the left side of that building, and then the city department is on the right, but they're all housed in that building on Main Street.
Yep, and right next to us on the right is the fire department. So City Hall is the very right. You can see a little sliver of it. It's not very big compared to the library, but they have plenty of space for what they need to do. It was, I think, maybe I should know this, 20, 25 years ago, they moved the library and it became much larger. So you can see that wall in the middle on that top picture. I wish that wasn't there, but it's it's very structural. So
is it?
I guess it's one of those manufactured. I think they brought the building in, built it, and then brought it in. And so on the far side, where you can kind of see the sign for the creation station by that back door. That's mostly the kids side. We have all the kids books and young adults. And then on the other side of that center wall is all of our DVDs and video games. And then on that bottom picture, you can see we have the nonfiction and then the adult fiction, and our kind of computer area next to the wall there. So we have 6 computer stations, plus we got some grant money for an adult computer station. So adults can come in and the kids are not allowed to use it. So if it's summer and everybody's playing Roblox on the computers, the adults don't have to wait to come check their email or print things off. So that's really nice. And on both sides, we have kind of a sitting lounge area, which I rearranged pretty much everything when I got here. So on the kids side, there's a couch and a little square coffee table, and you can see the chairs back there. And then on the adult side, there's a couple big comfy chairs. So and we just got that Pac-Man machine, which has been very popular.
That looks fun.
Yeah, it was on sale at Walmart for like $99, and I snatched that up because the kids love it.
It's a good size for the bookend or shelf end.
It is. It's pretty perfect. Yeah. So and then there in that space, you can see on the table, I took those pictures last week. That was, we were putting together all of our gift baskets for our auction. And then there's a couple TVs by that back window that they can play Xbox or PlayStation on. And so I've just tried to make it really kind of homey and cozy and comfortable. And the kids definitely make themselves comfortable. So
the carpet is new, isn't it?
It is, yes. That was like the very first thing that I did, and that was a big job because we did it ourselves. There was carpet that had been there since the building was here, and it was in pretty bad shape. And so I got some of those carpet squares, and I have had to change out a couple of them because, you know, people spill paint or glue or, you know, whatever. So believe it or not, the solid colors are way more expensive than the pattern ones. So I had planned to do just, you know, a smattering of the colors, but I ended up doing even more pattern than, which is good because the pattern hides a lot more, and you know how they can get in a library.
How difficult is it to change out those carpet squares now that they're all down, if you have to replace one?
It's pretty easy, except the glue we used is pretty good glue, so you gotta put some muscle behind it. But it's just like plywood underneath, so yeah, it's not too bad.
Nice. I like the chairs and those squares also that give the pop of color in there.
I like to match things, make things fun. So
you can see that in your circ desk that that's all you. I can double down. I mean, the desk was there, but you've added all of that, those words and whatnot.
Diane actually, the previous director actually did the word.
Oh, she did. Okay.
She did. I did not. But yeah, they're super cool. But yeah, all this stuff on the desk, that's all me. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Well, let's move on. I thought we would talk about this My Libro app because you're somebody who I started adopting it. And you've had pretty good luck with it. And I know not everybody has. I think the people that have had more issues with it, and Jack I saw was in here, I think they use the Sunflower library, the e-content, which you do not, correct? You don't have that overdrive piece. So that's not a concern for you or your patrons. But is there anything you can talk to us about with the screenshots we have with My Libro, maybe a background for those of us who don't really have our heads wrapped around what it even is?
Yeah. So it's basically an app that sort of encompasses all of the kind of important online things that we do, but puts them all in one place. Honestly, I was kind of tired of people. It's a small town, so I'm friends with a lot of people in town on Facebook, and they would send me messages and say, hey, can you renew that? Can you look this up for me? Whatever, which they, you know, some people still do, and it's easy and no big deal. But a lot of people just didn't want to get online and renew their books, or didn't know how, or whatever. And then I do a lot of events, and while I update the website, a lot of people don't necessarily go to the website regularly, so I do it on Facebook most of the time. I make events. So what's really nice about the app is you can see on the left-hand side, so that's my library card up there, and the green part is where my actual card number was. So I can click on the little shopping cart, and I can see what I've checked out, and I renew things, and I could see what I think the little bag is my holds, and then the little book is the holds that are ready to be picked up. So it gives me a notification when that happens. And I can make a whatever message I want to right there in the middle. And I put on there, check out what's coming up at the library. That goes to our website calendar of events. And then there's the search categories, which, it isn't perfect. And I think they were pretty new at the whole shared catalog thing. They didn't really know what to do with that when I wanted it. So that's a little bit of a challenge for them, but it's pretty well worked out. And then on the right, that is under blogs. It has the, they brought the event calendar from our website, and it shows those. And then right below that is our Facebook page. So you can see the timeline, and then you can click on the post and it'll take you to Facebook.
Nice. So I can see from Facebook, and I don't have to be logged in or have Facebook on my phone, which I do not. So that's cool. I think I will just mention for those folks who are not from our region, which thank you so much for being here. We are trying to reach this out across the state. Greta is part of our next search catalog, and that is the consortium we have for a lot of our small, medium-sized Northeast Kansas libraries. And just for your information, that runs on the Koha ILS, that's open source ILS. So I just wanted to give people a little bit of background if they're curious about that. And I will say that Greta has a WordPress page, so she has learned how to take care of all of that without any assistance from myself. Always adding that information, even though it sounds like the patrons don't always check in on that very regularly.
Some do, but
Sure.
You know how it is.
Yep. Let's go ahead and talk about some of the various things that you're doing around the library. One of the first things I noticed when I met Greta, and she was already kind of at the library because I wasn't traveling much through 2020 and probably didn't get on the road until 21, was I noticed her plant sale that she was doing. And it seems like that's something you're doing. Do you do it twice a year?
No.
Okay.
We do it in May. We've done it the last couple of years, like Mother's Day weekend on the Saturday. And Nortonville, the library has had a book sale, a big book sale, for a long time. And we still do that, but now we've added this plant sale portion of it. And then kind of the idea of, getting some gifts for Mother's Day or whatever. And I've become a little bit obsessed with plants. In the last couple of years. And so we have donations from the community. You can see on that far round table in the picture, a lot of those came from people's gardens, which is awesome. But then I also get like the succulents, a lot of those, and the smaller plants I get relatively cheaply. And then the kids here at the library and the staff will decorate pots and put them in, fun mugs and whatever to make them giftable and make them kind of cute. And so we actually, the book sale, we sell everything basically for a quarter, and it's a lot of work, of course. We keep almost all of the weeded books in the basement. So when the sale comes around, we have to bring everything up and sort it out and label, and make it as easy as possible for people to get through. But then even so, at a quarter a book or a quarter a DVD, you don't make very much money. So this is one of our two big fundraisers for the year. And so adding that plant sale aspect really pushes our donations and our proceeds up quite a bit. So, and it's fun. I love finding the plants. I love telling people how to take care of them and decorating the pots. It's all fun stuff for me. So,
well, and it seems like a great thing with, as you mentioned earlier, there's not a lot of shopping places around Nortonville. So for those that don't drive, I can imagine this is a nice way to get mom a gift. I was going to also mention that people might not guess it, but you do have a huge basement space, at least in my mind. It's not like a finished, it's concrete floors and it's a little rough around the edges, but it is large, so it gives them a lot of storage
building
space.
Yes, we have tons of storage, so I don't mind getting all the people want to bring in their books that they can't sell at a garage sale, or they just want to get rid of them, so they try to bring them here. And I don't always take them. I tell them they have to be in good shape and stuff, but we have plenty of room to store them if they are in good shape, and we can always turn around and sell them in the book sale. And so we've got lots of room, we're really lucky in that aspect.
But it wouldn't be suitable to let the patrons just go down there and shop. I'm guessing it's a little too.
We've talked about it, but there's no ramp or anything.
Oh yeah, so it's not accessible.
Yeah, and we would have to have somebody down there to kind of keep an eye on things, and that's difficult with such a small staff. So
for now, you're hauling them up the stairs.
Yep, we are.
So, I mean, we could probably talk about all kinds of programs that you run, but I kind of was highlighting two as we come down to the last 10 minutes or so. I just thought this program was neat. It's called Franken Toys, and those of you who are here might already be familiar with it. But Greta, I thought maybe you could just tell us a little bit about how you heard about this activity and how it's been going at your library.
Yeah, it's super fun. We've done it for the last 2 years. We do it right before Halloween. Usually the kids have a day off of school, so we can do it, earlier in the afternoon because it takes a while. But I heard about it it was a summer reading or a teen program workshop, and it was a shout out to Jennifer McCauley from McPherson because she's amazing. She has tons of good ideas, and this came from her. I'm 98% sure. And so basically what we do is we get donations or get cheap dolls and stuffed animals. And like the name suggests, we let the kids cut them up and put them back together however they want. So they make their own creatures. We try not to, we have supplies for all the skill levels. So we have duct tape and needle and thread if they know how to sew. We have safety pins. So we try not to have to, sew an entire thing for the kids, but sometimes it happens. But yeah, it's really fun, and it's a good way. It's pretty easy if you give yourself enough time, which I'm not always that great at, but everybody has all these stuffed animals that they want to sell at a garage sale or their kids don't use anymore, and like garbage bags full. And if you can get a couple of those, depending on how many kids you might have doing it with you, you can, even just a couple garbage bags full is enough for us as a small town, but it's really easy to get the supplies, and we have all of this stuff. So yeah, and it's just fun for the kids to come up with. We only have one or two each year that is like, I don't want to cut it, I just want to keep it like it is. Yeah, I want to take him home. Well, can you do something to him, But so yeah, that's a fun thing that we've done, and I plan to do it every Halloween.
Yeah. Is it something now that you've kind of been repeating it, that it seems like the kids that have done it before are excited to get back into it or share it with the younger kids that
Yep.
didn't do it before. Yeah.
Yep.
It seems like it would
Yep.
be neat.
Mhm.
Okay, well, let's talk a little bit about your adult stuff. I know you're doing some adult craft nights.
Yeah. So I probably at least a year and a half, I have been doing these pretty regularly. I try to do them like once a month because in our town there's not a lot to do, and for anybody.
Mhm.
So unless you want to drive 20 minutes or more, you don't get a lot of adult interaction, or there's not stuff to do. So I plan these craft nights, and I get a lot of my ideas off of Pinterest, almost all of them. And I get most of my supplies either from Dollar Tree or Amazon. That left picture, we were doing barn quilts. And the only reason that was the first time I ever had to split it up into 2 nights because there were so many people that we didn't have room. So we ended up with, I don't know, like 60 or 80 people total, which for us is crazy.
Yeah, that seems like a lot for a town your size.
Yeah, but the only reason we were able to do that is because our city clerk here, she donated all the wood squares from her parents' property. So we just, sometimes it takes a lot of prep work. But again, that's fun for me. So it's, as long as I don't push everything off to the last minute and stress myself out, then it's, it's, for me, it's just as much a way to get out and see people at night. So it's a lot of fun, and we do it for free, and that's that's why I try to get as much out of our fundraisers as I can, because even though I don't spend a lot on supplies, and we do have donations, and there were a lot of supplies when I started working here, it can still get expensive if you let it. So I try to, make some extra money, and I've slowly put more money towards our programming than was in the budget before. So, because that's kind of my priority, is just having stuff for the community to do for all ages. So, so people look forward to it, I think. And
cool.
We don't charge for people to do it, but we say if anybody wants a free will donation, is always accepted. And a lot of people will, put a few dollars in the jar because they know that if they were to go somewhere and do this, it would cost them 20 or
right. So somebody would probably be making a profit off of it too. So it wouldn't just be the supply cost. I wanted to point out one of our participants here from the Mountain Ridge Library was talking about how they do a library visit bingo cards over the summer reading program. Different small libraries have a punch for visiting, and then a second one for visiting during events, which I think that's a really neat idea.
That is cool.
I'm one of those people that when I go travel, which never happens anymore, but back in a previous life when I'd travel and I was in libraries, I would go to, check out the libraries. That was always a free place to take a break. So I really like that idea of going and visiting other libraries. And Jefferson County has a good amount of them too. There's, I think, 5 or 6 public libraries in that one county, which is quite a few. As we wind up here, I thought you could introduce your friend, Hammy.
Hammy, he is a leopard gecko. We've had betta fish. I have 2 betta fish now. But if anybody is familiar, I'm sure, Dan, you are, Pet World in
Lawrence.
In Lawrence. They're amazing, and I was there over the summer to get probably betta supplies or something. And leopard geckos live to be about 20.
Oh, wow.
And he was surrendered. He's about 10 years old. His full name is Hamilton Berger. My daughter really wanted to name him Berger, and I thought he needed a more distinguished name, so he's Hamburger, but I call him Hammy. And the kids love him, and they're pretty easy to take care of. And so yeah, along with the plants, I have a little bit of a zoo going here. So I bring my dog most days. She grew up in the library here, so
yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of life going on at the
There is
Nortonville Library.
lots of life here, and I love it.
Cool.
Actually, Hammy here, I really would have taken him to my house, but we have too many pets at home.
The menagerie continues, huh?
Yeah, he was half price because he was a surrender and middle-aged, so he came to the library. So he's our library leopard gecko.
Cool. Well, if we are past our time, so if you have to go, that's great. I just didn't leave a second for anybody if you did have any questions. Greta, would you mind sharing your email address if people wanted to follow up with you?
Yeah,
I'll go ahead. Yeah.
Director at nortonvillelibrary.org.
Okay.
So, and on Facebook, we're Nortonville Library, at Nortonville Library. You can find it there, so you can always send a message through there. Yeah.
Well, thank you again for volunteering. If in case those of you who don't know, the way this works is I'm always looking, as I've taken this over, we're looking for people to be featured in future months. So if you know any libraries, or if you would like to volunteer, I think Greta can tell you it's pretty low stress. We have just some pretty simple questions. We only take about 30 minutes. It goes by pretty quick. So love for you to volunteer, so that when we go into 2023, we've got some libraries lined up. But if there's nothing else, I will just say Happy New Year to you all, and really appreciate you tuning in. It wouldn't be much of a presentation without you all.
Thanks for having me.
Looks like Mound Ridge wanted to know about summer lighting. Summer reading. We don't really have that. If we have questions about that, we'll answer it. But overall, these are more of a general everything about what the library is going on, kind of a snapshot of the library. But there are lots of different summer reading planning programs, and if you need information on those, I'm sure we'd like to get it out to you. Usually the regional systems host those, but feel free to drop me a line at dan@necls.org, nekls.org, and we'll get you set up. All right, folks, have a great rest of your day. I'm off to Baldwin City to do a ADA check. Take care.